Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel again today. Another share for Anna's craft cupboard using the Heidi Swapp Color Fresh collection. I'm scrapbooking these photos of my youngest. The big one is I think 3.5 inches by 5, and then the small ones are 2 by 2.5. I've just spent a little bit of time off camera playing. I had an idea for a title and I wasn't sure how I was going to make this work, but I've come up with this kind of basic configuration with a strip along the bottom. My title, it's all jumbled up, but it says, yes, this crazy kid is ours. That's what it's going to say. It's going to kind of nestle in here. But I wanted to do some mixed media, so I just thought I'd jump on and quickly let you know what I'm working on. And I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to get my mixed media on and pop you on fast forward. Okay, so I am back. I'm just going to quickly apologise for some of the lighting in here. It kind of goes in and out. I've brightened it as much as I can, but it's because it's all white and the camera, my phone struggles with that. So I do apologise for that, but it doesn't last for very long. So you can see here I have got this 12 by 12 stencil, which is unusual for me to use, but I wanted some texture in my background, but I didn't want something that kind of dominated. I wanted little lines and stuff, and this was the best one that I found, and I really love it. So that's the one that I went with. I'm using some modeling paste and my little spatula, and I'm just spreading that through, and you can see that at the top I'm kind of flicking it so that I don't get any really dead straight lines where it finishes, and the same to the sides as well. So I've popped that aside and let it dry. It's completely dry here, you can't really see it, and all I've sprinkled onto my paper there is some water. Decided to play with my Lindy's magical shakers. The first colour was Bavarian Blue. This one is Guten Tag Teal. I'm sorry if I've butchered that. And then this last one is Time Travel Teal. So I'm just going to use the 3 of these as watercolours. I've mixed them up in a little palette to my right hand side. I don't know if you saw, but I did fill my palette with water before I added the powder. I just find that way the powder doesn't fly everywhere when I squirt the water in. I wanted this to be a really loose watercolory background, so you can see all I'm doing is loading my brush up with water, and I'm literally just splashing colour onto my background here. There are a few bits and pieces where I do actually apply the colour with the paintbrush, not just as splatters, but for the most part I am just splattering it on and letting it do its thing. I started with the lightest colour, which is the Guten Tag Teal. While the colour's wet, it can be quite tricky to see the difference between the two, but the Time Travel Teal is more green, and that's the one that I'm putting on right now. I love the way that these colours move and blend together. The shine on them is really hard to capture on camera, but it's so pretty. Not that I'm going for pretty, but it's just an extra bonus. Because there was so much water on there, you could see I just kept adding water and colour until I got it to somewhere where I was happy with it. But because there was so much water on it, I just used a paper towel to soak up some of that excess water. And then I'm going in with the Bavarian Blue. Now this is a really dark colour. Well, it can be a really dark colour. Obviously, the more powder, less water you use, the more pigmented your colour is. And I wanted it to be quite obviously blue. You'll see a little hand here. He was very interested in seeing what I was doing. Was very interested in the texture and how I got it onto the page and what I was doing. So he's watching me add the colour here. He was fascinated. You can see I haven't added a ton of that blue. Like I said, I didn't want it to overtake the page. I did make a mess. I'm a messy scrapbooker, what can I say? I've got lots of splatters up the top where I don't want them. Because I have used the gesso on the top, I'm able to wipe those away with a baby wipe, which is what I did before. Now here there is a darker spot. You can see here I go from rubbing and I'm like, oh, whoops. My paper was starting to ball up, so I'm just dabbing at it instead of rubbing it. Once my colour was completely dry, I did go in with some splatters. Again, I made sure that the color was quite thick. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that it drives me crazy when the splatters are no longer splatter shaped when they run and make a pool. So I did make sure that the colors that I was using were more powder than water, and I sprinkled that on with my paintbrush. I'm going to add some tissue paper behind my big photo here. These photos make me crack up every time I see them. He's a little character, this one. So these photos were taken in the car. My hubby and I had been out for our wedding anniversary earlier this year, and I dropped him at my mum's, who crochets all of their beanies. My big guy was at his little best friend's house, but he got this beanie and he was just carrying on like an absolute nutcase in the car. And I snapped these photos, as you can see, in a row, and I was just like, these are too funny not to scrap. So that's exactly what I've done. He's just being a clown, entertaining us, making us laugh, which is awesome. That acetate piece there I've been dying to use. It says he got that from his father. So I'm blaming the crazy on his dad. Yeah. This sticker from the 6x12 sticker sheet was exactly the colour that I wanted. And I just went, you know what, instead of saving it for exactly the right layout, this can be the exact right layout. I'm going to use it as a layer. So you saw me stick it to a piece of scratch paper that I'd actually used for my stamping layout with this collection. And then cut that out, and I'm just using it as an ephemera piece now, which is awesome. Cut it in two, I've distressed the edges, and I've stuck that behind two of the corners on my big photo. Then I decide I want a bit more around the photo, and I cannot resist a rainbow. I just can't. Just can't. So I'm going to distress the edges of this as well. Go to lay that behind. I'm like, nope, not the white. Cut that off. And one piece goes at the top. And this worked perfectly. I want to cover the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I cover that up, it means I get the rainbow in the opposite order at the bottom, which just a little detail that I really liked. Just going to stick those down. I popped my photo up on some foam as well. So here I'm going to tack everything down. This adhesive does not work particularly well on mixed media, but I wasn't looking for permanent sticks, so that's okay. I wanted to stick all this down so that I could get the placement of my title before I did too much more. I'm going to stick that middle photo on the right hand side up on some foam as well. And you can see that adhesive is not sticking at all to my layout, but that's okay. So I'm happy with the placement there. I'm going to start with sticking down this, it's not acetate, Melinda, it is acrylic. I'm going to start by sticking that down. Now I have found that my Scotch tacky does work. It does take more than no time for it to adhere. So you can see I'm going to check to make sure that it's straight. I eyeballed it straight the first go. I was so impressed with myself. I've popped my my 2 gesso jars on top of that, and I've walked away. While that was adhering, I did start working on my title, and I stuck all of those down with my Scotch tacky glue as well. Then I popped the whole layout over to the side and started working on a couple of layers behind my photos. I'm going to go with this beautiful paper, which I've got to be honest, it really hurt cutting into this. It's so pretty. But I do. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have just completely trimmed the branding strip off, but I didn't. So I don't make you watch me try to be smart. But I have trimmed that down to size. I really like that it's got the pop of the yellow on that side, and I'm going to stick my photo to that. I chose the pinks and stuff because there was so much pink in the title. I'm going to add some paper layers, well, a paper layer behind these other 4 photos as well. I'm going to do the one on the left by itself, and distress all the edges. My desk is a mess at the moment. And then I do the ones on the right as well and distress all the layers. You can see here, I felt that middle photo, because it was a bit higher, there was too much paper underneath it. So I've just distressed that a bit more, and I'm going to tuck this. I only adhered the word father, which I very carefully managed to slip those photos underneath he got that from his part of that acetate piece. When I stick this down, I basically, I think I cut most of it out because my head goes in the way. Use my wet glue and I just start on the left. I do the right hand side, yeah. And then you can see I'm just smushing that down to make sure it all stays in place. I managed to smear glue all over my son's face on that middle photo. I'm like, oh my goodness. But because it was still wet, it came straight off. Just holding that down a bit longer, and I decided I wanted to create a cluster up the top here. So again, more of the rainbow stripe. This acetate piece is perfect. It says, "You are one of a kind." I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it. I'm really sad I didn't get it on the page, but you know, that's okay. I chop out a piece from the top and I distress the edge. Going to stick down that rainbow paper. Now, because it is a rainbow stripe, you'll laugh at me. I only used a little bit of it, so I was able to chop off the excess, and I've still got some more of this. Oh, what a dork. But that's okay. So I've got some more of that to use. You can see me trying desperately to get that to work. I did chop out some of me mucking around trying to get it to work, because it's not fun and it doesn't make it. Then I found this acetate piece, which is a good way to bring the gold up to the top. It says, "Just have fun." I'm like, yep, I'm happy with that there. And then I'm like, okay, so I've got the white acrylic down the bottom. How else can I bring white acrylic around? And then I remembered I had the white acrylic stars. So 3 of those up the top, and then I'm like, need to bring those down as well. So then I've got my triangle of the 3 acrylics. I don't add very much more. I do decide to add in these little pink photo corners. And what's this? Oh, that's my acrylic star. That gets moved. I'm not sure if that gets moved in my process or not. So because my paper has warped so much and there's gesso and mixed media on the background, it was a bit tricky to get these to stick. It just took me putting some heavy weights on it, my gesso jars. I've got a sticker there with a pop of that yellowy green color, and it says it's got W and wild. I knew I was going to attach this Just Have Fun with staples, so I wanted to bring the staples down to the bottom, and so that circle with the wild has got 2 staples in it as well. I was like, oh, this needs a little something. I started stamping in black ink, and I did the love heart and the speech bubble with the love heart, and I was like, oh my gosh, what have you done? My goodness, what have you done? Okay, how can I fix this? Let's add more stamping. So I got the little love heart from the same stamp set. This is the Color Fresh stamp set. I got the little love heart and I stamped that all over the page. And I was like, okay, that's better. What else can I do? I decided to add the black because I had the black journaling at the bottom. And then I went back in with some black splatters, which I think just brought it all nicely together. You'll see in the close-ups here that that black ink has lined up. Because of the gesso on the background, it has lined up in colour, and I really like the way that it looks. So I'm really happy with that. Yes, this crazy kid is ours. He's an absolute cracker. I hope that you've enjoyed my process. Feel free to laugh at my child along with me. But you can see in that photo there how much that black stamping really lined up. I hope you've enjoyed this process. If you have any questions, please make sure you leave them below. I will link Anna's Craft Cupboard, this collection, and the Annabelle in the description box below. And I will see you again with another process video. Thanks for stopping by and have a great day.